Hello everyone and welcome back to Mysterious Murmurs. I know many of you use these videos to fall asleep, so before you drift off, I'd love it if you could leave a comment letting me know where you're listening from around the world. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Story 1, Silent Night, Deadly Night. The snow fell silently over the small town of Ember Hollow, coating rooftops and tree branches in a soft, white blanket. Christmas lights adorned every house, their twinkling glow spilling onto the snow-covered streets. Inside the homes, families laughed, exchanged gifts, and sipped hot cocoa by crackling fires. It was a perfect Christmas Eve, until the lights went out. A sudden blackout plunged the entire town into darkness. Streetlights, televisions, and festive displays blinked off in an instant. Confused murmurs filled the homes, as residents checked their phones only to find them dead, too. It was as though the town had been severed from the rest of the world. "Must be the storm," Mrs. Caldwell muttered to her husband, peering out the frost-covered window. But the storm wasn't to blame. Underscore 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 underscore. By the time midnight approached, Ember Hollow was eerily quiet. Families lit candles and huddled together under blankets, trying to ward off the creeping chill. In one house, 3 siblings, Emma, Jason, and little Sophie, sat near the fireplace, sharing whispered stories to distract from the unsettling silence. It started faintly, barely audible over the crackle of the fire. A soft, melodic humming floated through the air, as though carried by the wind. "Do you hear that?" Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jason frowned, tilting his head. "Yeah. It's coming from outside." Sophie clutched her teddy bear tightly. "I don't like it." The humming grew louder, shifting into a haunting melody. The notes were mournful yet hypnotic, like a lullaby sung by a ghost. Jason, against Emma's protests, moved to the window and peered outside. "I don't see anything," he said, but his voice wavered. The melody swelled, echoing through the empty streets. Other families began to notice it too. Doors creaked open as curious townsfolk stepped into the cold night, searching for the source of the song. The first to vanish was Mr. Grant, the town's butcher. He'd stepped out to investigate the sound, muttering about pranksters ruining his evening. His wife heard his startled gasp, followed by a sickening silence. When she rushed outside, there was no sign of him, just footprints in the snow, leading into the shadows. One by one, others disappeared. Those who lingered too long outside, drawn by the song, vanished without a trace. Panic spread quickly. Families barricaded themselves indoors, covering windows and stuffing towels under doors to block out the haunting tune. But it didn't help. The melody seeped through the walls, finding its way into every corner of the town. Underscore 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 Emma, Jason, and Sophie sat frozen in fear as the song grew louder. The sound seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "We have to get out of here," Jason said, his voice trembling. "Go where?" Emma shot back. "We don't even know what's out there." A sudden knock at the door made them jump. It was slow and deliberate, like the ticking of a clock. "Knock. Knock. Knock. Don't open it," Sophie whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. Jason moved toward the door, compelled by a force he couldn't explain. Emma grabbed his arm. "Jason, don't." But it was too late. The door creaked open, revealing nothing but the empty street beyond. For a moment, they thought they were safe, until the melody swirled around them, louder than ever. A figure stepped into view, shrouded in mist. It wore tattered Victorian-era clothing, its face obscured by a dark hood. In its hand was an ancient lantern, its flickering light casting grotesque shadows on the snow. The figure began to sing. The group fled out the back door, running through the snow-covered yards. The melody pursued them, growing louder with every step. The spectral caroler moved with unnatural speed, gliding silently over the snow. It didn't walk, it drifted, its lantern swinging ominously. "Over here!" Jason shouted, leading them into the woods. The dense trees offered a temporary shield from the relentless tune. They stumbled upon an old hunting cabin, its door hanging ajar. Inside, they found a few other survivors: Miss Harper, the school librarian, Carl, the gas station attendant, and a young boy named Liam. "We need to stay quiet," Miss Harper whispered, clutching a fireplace poker like a weapon. "It only comes if you listen." "But how do we stop it?" Emma asked, her voice shaking. The group huddled in the cabin, desperate to block out the song. They stuffed cloth into their ears, but the melody seemed to penetrate their very minds. Sophie began to hum softly, her eyes glazed over. "Sophie, stop!" Emma hissed, shaking her sister. But Sophie was entranced, her tiny hands reaching for the door. The others held her back as the knocking started again. This time, it came from all sides of the cabin. "Knock! Knock! Knock!" The lantern's glow appeared through the cracks in the walls, casting an eerie light into the room. The spectral caroler was close. Underscore 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 one by one. The survivors began to falter. Carl succumbed first, his eyes rolling back as he walked willingly into the shadows. Miss Harper screamed as the door burst open, revealing the hooded figure. Its lantern flared, and she was gone. Jason and Emma grabbed Sophie and ran, leaving the cabin behind. The song followed them relentlessly, a haunting echo in the dark woods. They stumbled into an old church, its stained glass windows shattered. Inside, they found an altar covered in strange, ancient markings. A single phrase was etched into the stone: "Sing and be free." underscore 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 desperate, Jason began to sing. His voice cracked, but the melody changed, twisting into a new tune that seemed to disrupt the spectral caroler's song. The figure appeared at the doorway, its lantern dimming. "Keep singing," Emma urged. But as Jason sang, the markings on the altar began to glow. A swirling vortex of shadows erupted from the ground, and the spectral caroler let out a piercing wail. It was being dragged into the vortex, its lantern shattering into shards of light. For a moment, the town was silent. Jason, Emma, and Sophie stood in the church, their breaths visible in the freezing air. "Did we stop it?" Sophie whispered. Before anyone could answer, a low humming began to fill the room. The vortex didn't close, it grew larger, spilling shadows into the church. From its depths, multiple figures emerged, each carrying a lantern. The haunting melody returned, louder and more chilling than ever. Underscore 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 underscore. And so the story ends with the faint sound of singing echoing through the streets of Ember Hollow, as the shadows continued to spread. Story 2, The Christmas Tree That Wept. The Pierce family was thrilled to have their first Christmas in their new home, a rustic cabin nestled on the edge of Whispering Pines Forest. The house was surrounded by towering evergreens, their boughs heavy with fresh snow. It was picturesque, the kind of setting that felt ripped straight out of a holiday card. It was Henry Pierce's idea to chop down their own Christmas tree from the forest. "Why settle for one of those pre-cut trees when we can have the real deal?" he declared, his tone brimming with enthusiasm. His wife, Claire, had hesitated. There was something about the dense woods that unsettled her, but she didn't want to dampen his excitement. Their children, Ava and Jamie, were ecstatic about the adventure. So, armed with an axe and bundled up against the cold, the family ventured into the forest. Underscore 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 underscore. The trees stood tall and silent, their branches swaying gently in the breeze. The deeper they ventured, the quieter it became, the sounds of distant birds and rustling leaves fading into an eerie stillness. Finally, they found it, a towering fir tree with perfectly symmetrical branches that seemed to sparkle in the faint sunlight. "This one's perfect," Henry said, running a gloved hand over the trunk. As he began to chop, Ava noticed something strange. Sap trickled from the gash in the tree, but it wasn't the golden amber she expected. It was dark red, almost like blood. "Dad, why is the sap red?" Ava asked, her voice quivering. "It's just the way some trees are," Henry replied, though his brow furrowed. He didn't want to admit that it unnerved him too. Ignoring their unease, The family hauled the tree back to the cabin, setting it up in the living room. They decorated it with lights, ornaments, and tinsel until it gleamed with holiday cheer. But as the sun set and the cabin filled with the warm glow of the tree, the sap began to drip again. Thick, crimson droplets oozed from the trunk, pooling at the base. Underscore 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 underscore. The first night that night, Claire was awakened by a faint sound. It was soft and mournful, like someone crying. She nudged Henry awake. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. He groaned, half asleep. "It's probably the wind." But as Claire listened more closely, she realized the sound was coming from the living room. Reluctantly, she crept out of bed and down the stairs. The sobbing grew louder as she approached the tree. The ornaments swayed gently, as though touched by an unseen hand. Claire's breath hitched as she noticed something else. The gifts beneath the tree were gone. She turned on the lights, but the room was empty. The sobbing stopped, leaving an oppressive silence in its wake. "Mom?" Ava's voice called from the top of the stairs. Claire turned, her face pale. "It's nothing, sweetheart. Go back to bed." But as she ascended the stairs, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching her from the shadows. Underscore 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 underscore. The ornaments shattered the next day. The family tried to shake off the previous night's strangeness. Henry chalked it up to Claire's imagination, while Ava and Jamie were more preoccupied with the mysterious disappearance of the gifts. "We probably just misplaced them," Henry said, though he couldn't explain how an entire stack of presents had vanished. That evening, as they sat down for dinner, a loud crash came from the living room. The family rushed in to find ornaments shattered on the floor, shards of glass scattered like tiny daggers. "How did this happen?" Claire asked, her voice trembling. Henry checked the windows and doors, but they were locked. There was no sign of an intruder. "I don't like this tree," Jamie whispered, clutching his sister's hand. Henry tried to reassure them. "It's just an old tree. Maybe the ornaments were too heavy for the branches." But Claire wasn't convinced. Underscore 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 underscore. The truth revealed. Determined to understand what was happening, Claire did some research about Whispering Pines Forest. She learned that, decades ago, the land had been the site of a brutal massacre. A small settlement had once existed there, but it was wiped out in a violent attack, leaving dozens dead. Many of the victims were buried in unmarked graves throughout the forest. Over time, the graves were forgotten, and the forest grew over them. Claire's stomach turned as she read. Could their tree have grown over one of these burial sites? She shared her findings with Henry, who dismissed her concerns. The final night the family tried to flee, but the doors wouldn't budge. The windows, too, were sealed shut, as though the house itself had become a prison. The tree's branches stretched across the walls and ceiling, pulsing like veins. The sobbing turned to laughter, low and cruel. "We have to burn it," Henry said, grabbing a canister of lighter fluid from the garage. As he doused the tree, it let out a piercing wail. The light shattered, plunging the room into darkness. Henry lit a match, but before he could throw it, the branches wrapped around his wrist, pulling him toward the trunk. "Help me!" he screamed. Claire grabbed an axe and swung at the branches, freeing Henry. Together, they set the tree ablaze. The flames consumed it, and for a moment, it seemed like they'd won. But as the fire died down, the tree remained unscathed, its branches twisting into grotesque shapes. "You cannot escape us," the voice growled. Underscore 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 the cliffhanger. The family huddled together, trapped in the burning house. The tree's laughter echoed around them as its roots began to spread, cracking through the floorboards. In the final moments, Claire looked into the tree's trunk and saw faces, twisted, tormented souls, their mouths open in silent screams. The fire engulfed the cabin, but as the smoke rose into the night sky, the tree remained, standing tall and unbroken. In the distance, another family wandered into the forest, searching for the perfect Christmas tree. Story 3: The Gift of the Unseen. It was Christmas morning, and the world outside was blanketed in fresh snow. Emma and Daniel Lockhart sat by their modest fireplace, exchanging gifts and sipping coffee. Their small home was warm and inviting, with twinkling lights casting soft shadows across the room. The morning had been perfect until Emma opened the front door to retrieve the newspaper. Sitting on their doorstep was a package, small, unmarked, and wrapped in plain brown paper. "Did you order something?" she asked Daniel, carrying it inside. He shook his head. "Not that I remember. Maybe it's from a neighbor?" Emma examined the package. There was no name, no return address, no postage. Just a box tied with twine. She hesitated before unwrapping it, her curiosity outweighing her unease. Inside was a snow globe. The globe was exquisitely detailed, depicting their home in miniature. Every detail was perfect, down to the wreath on the door and the single crack in the kitchen window. A light dusting of snow inside made it look almost magical. "Wow," Daniel said, peering over her shoulder. "That's incredible. Someone must have spent a fortune on this." But Emma couldn't shake a strange feeling. The globe felt heavy in her hands, almost unnaturally so, and the snow seemed to swirl even when she wasn't shaking it. "Weird," she murmured, setting it on the mantel. Underscore 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 underscore. The first vision later that afternoon, Emma found herself drawn to the snow globe. She picked it up, staring at the tiny replica of their house. On a whim, she gave it a gentle shake. As the snow settled, the scene inside began to change. "Daniel, come here," Emma called, her voice trembling. He hurried over, and they both watched as the serene image of their home faded, replaced by broken windows and a dark smear across the front door. Snow inside the globe turned crimson, pooling at the base. "What the hell is this?" Daniel whispered. Before Emma could respond, the room seemed to grow colder. The fireplace flickered and dimmed, and a faint tapping sound echoed through the house. "Did you hear that?" Emma asked. They both froze as the tapping grew louder. It was coming from the kitchen. Underscore 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 underscore. The broken window. Daniel grabbed a flashlight and led the way. The kitchen was dark, the only light coming from the faint glow of Christmas lights outside. The tapping continued, rhythmic and deliberate, drawing their attention to the cracked kitchen window. Emma gasped. "It's the same crack as in the globe." Before Daniel could reply, the window shattered, shards of glass scattering across the floor. A blast of icy air rushed into the room, carrying with it the faint scent of decay. Daniel leaned out to look but saw nothing, just the empty, snow-covered backyard. "I'm calling the police," Emma said, her voice shaking. But when she picked up the phone, there was no dial tone. Their cell phones, too, were dead. Underscore 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 bloody footprints. As the evening wore on, the couple barricaded the broken window and tried to make sense of what was happening. "It has to be a prank," Daniel said, pacing the living room. "Some sick joke." Emma shook her head. "Then how do you explain the globe?" She picked it up again, hesitant but unable to resist. Shaking it revealed another scene. This time, the tiny house inside was dark, its front door ajar. Bloody footprints trailed across the snow, leading into the woods. Almost immediately, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed outside. Daniel grabbed a poker from the fireplace and motioned for Emma to stay behind him. Slowly, he opened the front door. The footprints were there, just as the globe had shown, dark red, standing out starkly against the pristine snow. They led from the front porch into the dense woods behind the house. "There's someone out there," Emma whispered. Underscore 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 underscore. The figures appear. They locked every door and window, pulling the curtain shut. But the feeling of being watched was overwhelming. Emma glanced at the globe again and froze. "Daniel, look," she said, her voice barely audible. Inside the globe, two dark figures stood near the house. Their shapes were indistinct, but their presence was unmistakable. Daniel stared at the globe, his face pale. They weren't there before. As they watched, the figures moved closer. A loud bang came from the back door. Underscore 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 underscore. The globes grip Emma and Daniel ran to the back door, but no one was there. The footprints in the snow, however, were now accompanied by handprints, smearing the glass. "This isn't possible," Daniel muttered. Emma grabbed the globe and tried to smash it against the floor, but it didn't break. She tried again, harder this time, but the globe remained intact, as though mocking her. "It won't break," she screamed, tears streaming down her face. The globe began to hum, a low vibration that seemed to resonate through the house. The figures inside moved again, now standing on the porch. Underscore 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 underscore. The final seemed desperate. Daniel grabbed a hammer and swung it at the globe. The vibration grew louder, making the walls of the house tremble. The globe changed once more, showing the inside of their living room. Emma and Daniel were there, but they weren't alone. The dark figures stood behind them, their hands reaching out. Emma screamed as a shadow moved across the wall. Turning, she saw one of the figures standing in the corner of the room, its face hidden beneath a hood. Daniel swung the hammer at the figure, but it vanished, reappearing closer to Emma. "They're in the house," she cried. The lights flickered and went out, plunging the house into darkness. The hum from the globe grew deafening, and the air seemed to thicken, making it hard to breathe. Emma and Daniel clung to each other as the figures closed in. The last thing they saw was the snow globe, now glowing brightly, showing their house in flames. A scream echoed through the night, but by the time the neighbors arrived, the house was empty. The only thing left behind was the snow globe, sitting on the doorstep, perfectly intact. Inside it, two tiny figures could be seen, forever trapped in the miniature house. Story 4, Midnight at Santa's Workshop. The abandoned Christmas theme park stood on the outskirts of town, hidden behind a grove of frost-covered pines. North Pole Wonderland had once been a thriving destination for families, its towering candy canes and whimsical decorations attracting visitors from all over. But a fire 2 decades ago had destroyed much of the park, leaving it a ghostly relic of its former self. Rumors swirled about why the park never reopened. Some said the owner, an eccentric recluse named Gerald Frost, had cursed the place after losing everything in the fire. Others claimed the animatronic figures inside were haunted, possessed by the souls of those who perished in the blaze. For a group of 5 teenagers, the legends were the perfect excuse for a thrill-seeking adventure. "Come on, it's Christmas Eve. Let's do something fun for once," Kyle said, his grin wide and mischievous. "Breaking into an abandoned park is your idea of fun?" Maddie asked, crossing her arms. She wasn't convinced, but the others, Emma, Jake, and Tyler, were already on board. It's not just any park, Kyle said, leaning closer. It's the North Pole Wonderland. Think about it, creepy animatronic elves, a giant Santa. It's like walking into a horror movie. Exactly, Maddie muttered. By 11 p.m., the group was sneaking through the woods, flashlights cutting through the darkness. The gates to the park were rusted and overgrown with ivy, but the lock had long since been broken. They slipped inside, their breath visible in the frigid air. Underscore 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 inside the park was eerie, even more so than they had imagined. The once cheerful decorations were faded and cracked. Strings of Christmas lights hung limply, their bulbs shattered. Animatronic elves stood frozen in poses of cheer, their paint peeling and their glassy eyes clouded over. Creepy as hell, Emma whispered. Admit it, Kyle said, this is awesome. As they ventured deeper, they came upon the centerpiece of the park, Santa's workshop. The building loomed ahead, its red and white exterior blackened from the fire. Above the entrance, a giant Santa Claus figure sat slumped in his chair, his once jolly face now cracked and warped. Let's check it out, Jake said, his voice tinged with excitement. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. The workshop was filled with broken toys and dismantled animatronic figures. Tools lay scattered across workbenches, rusted and forgotten. Look at this place, Tyler said, picking up a headless elf doll. It's like time stopped. Emma shivered. Let's not stay too long. But Kyle was already exploring. He found a control panel near the back of the room and began flipping switches. Emma shivered. Let's not stay too long. But Kyle was already exploring. He found a control panel near the back of the room and began flipping switches. Don't touch that, Maddie hissed. Relax, Kyle said. It's probably dead. The lights flickered. The old clock on the wall began to chime. Midnight. As the final chime echoed, the workshop came alive. The animatronic elves' heads snapped toward the group, their eyes glowing red. The giant Santa figure outside let out a deep, mechanical laugh that reverberated through the building. Did you hear that? Emma whispered, clutching Jake's arm. Before anyone could respond, one of the elves moved. Its jerky, unnatural steps sent a wave of panic through the group. Time to go, Tyler shouted, but the doors slammed shut, trapping them inside. The elves advanced, their metallic limbs creaking as they surrounded the group. One of them lunged at Kyle, its clawed hands slashing his jacket. Run! Maddie screamed. They scattered, each darting into different parts of the workshop. Maddie and Emma ended up in a storage room filled with broken animatronics. They huddled together, trying to stay quiet. In the main hall, Jake and Tyler were cornered by a group of elves. Jake grabbed a wrench and swung it, knocking one of the figures to the ground. But as soon as it fell, another took its place. These things don't stop, Tyler yelled. From outside, the laughter grew louder. The giant Santa figure stood, its movements slow and deliberate. Its cracked face twisted into a grotesque grin as it stepped off its pedestal and into the workshop. The floor shook with each step. "New souls," it boomed, its voice deep and distorted. "The workshop must grow." Maddie and Emma peeked out from their hiding spot, their faces pale. "What is that?" Emma whispered. "Santa," Maddie replied, her voice hollow. The giant figure smashed through the walls, its massive hand reaching for Jake and Tyler. It grabbed Tyler, lifting him into the air. "Help me!" Tyler screamed, but the others could only watch in horror as Santa's chest opened, revealing a swirling void of darkness. Tyler was pulled inside, his screams echoing before they were abruptly silenced. "We have to destroy it," Maddie said, her voice firm despite the fear in her eyes. "How?" Kyle asked, blood dripping from a cut on his forehead. Emma pointed to the control panel Kyle had activated earlier. "If we can shut that down, maybe it'll stop." The group regrouped, dodging animatronics as they made their way back to the control panel. Jake grabbed a crowbar and began smashing the switches and levers. The lights flickered again, and for a moment, the machines seemed to pause. But then Santa roared, louder than ever. "It's not working!" Kyle shouted. Santa's massive form loomed over them, its glowing eyes filled with malice. One by one, the elves closed in, their metal claws clicking. Maddie looked at the swirling void in Santa's chest and made a decision. "It wants souls, right?" she said, stepping forward. "What are you doing?" Emma cried, grabbing her arm. "It's the only way to stop it," Maddie said, tears streaming down her face. Before anyone could stop her, Maddie ran toward Santa. The giant figure reached for her, and she let it take her. As she was pulled into the void, the lights dimmed, and the animatronics froze. The workshop fell silent. Emma, Jake, and Kyle stood in the wreckage, their breaths ragged. "Is it over?" Emma whispered. Before anyone could answer, the control panel sparked to life. The clock began to chime again. Outside, the giant Santa figure returned to its throne, its eyes glowing faintly. On the wall, new words appeared, scrawled in crimson: "The workshop is never complete." In the distance, the sound of laughter echoed through the night. Story 5, The Forgotten Carol. Snow blanketed the small town of Crestwood, and the old stone church stood silent beneath the moonlight. Inside, preparations were underway for the annual Christmas Eve service. The choir rehearsed harmonies, candles were arranged on every windowsill, and garlands of holly adorned the pews. Father Michael stood in the corner, flipping through an ancient hymnal he'd discovered in the church's dusty archives. The leather cover was cracked and worn, and the pages smelled of time and mildew. "What's that?" asked Sarah, the choir director, peering over his shoulder. "It's an old hymnal," Father Michael replied. "I found it in the basement. It has some carols I've never seen before." Sarah's eyes lit up. Something new for the service could be refreshing. "Let me see." The music was written in an unfamiliar key, and the lyrics were in archaic English, but the melodies seemed simple enough. "Why not?" she said with a smile. "It'll be a nice surprise for the congregation." underscore 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 underscore. Word of the new carol spread quickly among the choir. Most were intrigued, but one elderly parishioner, Mrs. Edith Holloway, overheard and paled visibly. "You mustn't sing that," she said, clutching Sarah's arm. Sarah frowned. "Why not?" "It's not a carol. It's a summoning," Mrs. Holloway whispered. "My grandmother spoke of it. It was sung only once in this church, long ago, and terrible things happened. The hymn was buried and forgotten for a reason." Sarah shook her head, dismissing the old woman's fears. "It's just a song, Mrs. Holloway. It'll be fine." The elderly woman left, muttering a prayer under her breath. Christmas Eve arrived, and the church filled with families in their holiday best. Candlelight flickered on the stone walls, and a sense of reverence hung in the air. The choir stood in the front, their robes pristine, their sheet music trembling slightly in nervous hands. Sarah stepped forward to introduce the final piece. "This next carol is something special," she said. "An ancient melody we're bringing back to life for tonight's service. It's called The Shepherd's Call." Father Michael shifted uncomfortably in his seat, a vague unease prickling at his neck. The organist struck the first chord, and the choir began to sing. Underscore 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 underscore. The melody was hauntingly beautiful, the notes weaving together in a way that seemed to resonate with the very stones of the church. The congregation sat in rapt silence, their eyes fixed on the choir. But as the second verse began, something shifted. A low hum arose from the pews, not from one person, but from the entire congregation. It started softly, almost imperceptibly, but grew louder with each line of the carol. Sarah faltered, glancing at the choir members, but they seemed entranced, their eyes glassy as they continued to sing. By the third verse, the hum had transformed into murmurs. The congregation spoke in unison, their voices reciting cryptic phrases in a guttural, forgotten language. Father Michael stood, panic rising in his chest. "Stop the music," he shouted, but his voice was drowned out by the growing cacophony. Underscore 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 underscore. A deep rumble shook the church, causing the candles to flicker and the stained glass windows to vibrate. Cracks spiderwebbed across the stone floor near the altar, and an icy wind seemed to emanate from the fissures. The congregation continued their chant, their faces blank and emotionless. Even Sarah had joined in, her voice blending with the others in the strange language. Father Michael rushed to the organ, slamming his hands onto the keys to drown out the song. The discordant noise startled the choir, breaking the spell momentarily. "What's happening?" Sarah gasped, her voice trembling. Before anyone could answer, the ground beneath the altar collapsed, revealing a gaping void. From the darkness, a low, resonant growl echoed, chilling them to the bone. Underscore 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 underscore. A massive, shadowy form began to rise from the void. Its shape was amorphous, constantly shifting, but its presence was suffocating. Glowing red eyes opened, fixing on the terrified choir. "The shepherd has come," the entity rumbled, its voice like thunder. Father Michael grabbed a crucifix from the altar and held it high. "In the name of God, I command you to leave this place." The entity laughed, a sound that shook the very walls of the church. "You have called me. Now you will serve me." Underscore 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 underscore. The choir scrambled to flee, but the doors of the church slammed shut, trapping them inside. The entity's shadowy tendrils began to snake through the pews, wrapping around the parishioners one by one. "We have to stop it," Sarah cried. "How?" Emma, one of the choir members, sobbed. "The song," Father Michael said, his mind racing. "It's the key. If we reverse it, sing it backward, maybe we can undo this." The choir hesitated, but the entity roared, its tendrils reaching for them. "Do it now!" Father Michael commanded. Underscore 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 underscore. The choir began to sing the carol in reverse, their voices trembling. The melody sounded discordant and wrong, but as they continued, the entity recoiled, its form flickering. The congregation stopped chanting, their eyes clearing as the spell broke. The fissures in the floor began to seal, and the church grew warmer. The entity let out a final, ear-splitting roar before collapsing into itself, vanishing into the void. The church fell silent. Underscore 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 underscore. The congregation slowly filed out, shaken but unharmed. Father Michael and Sarah stood at the altar, staring at the sealed floor. "We should destroy that hymnal," Sarah said, her voice barely above a whisper. Father Michael nodded. "It should never be sung again." But as they turned to leave, the faint sound of humming echoed through the empty church. The same haunting melody.
If you've enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have a tale of your own or a legend you'd like us to explore? Let us know. You might just hear it next. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a story. Because here, the darkness is always waiting just for you.